Welcome to the virtual public meeting presentation for Jefferson County 73 preliminary design from Buffalo Park Road to Plettner Lane. In this presentation, you will learn more about the project purpose, needs, and goals, and be provided a review of the completed preliminary design. This presentation will last approximately 25 to 30 minutes. A PDF of this presentation is available on the project website if you'd like to go back and review certain information more closely. Once you had a chance to review, please take a few minutes to fill out our survey using the SurveyMonkey link provided at the end of this presentation or on the project website to offer your comments, questions, or concerns. Your comments and feedback are critical to making the best decision for improvements in the study area, and we look forward to hearing from you. In the next few slides, we will be reviewing existing features along the corridor. If you'd like to review drone footage of the existing roadway segment, please pause this presentation and visit the YouTube link embedded on this slide, or it is also available on the project website. Jefferson County Road 73, or JC-73, is the primary route for residents of Evergreen between their homes and destinations along State Highway 74, with ultimate connections to I-70 and E-470. Access to US 285 at Conifer is also available along JC-73 to the south of the project corridor. This roadway is also a link for hundreds of thousands of visitors each year. In the event of an emergency, this roadway is one of the few primary evacuation routes for the foothill residents of the county. JC-73 has long been identified as a road where improvements are needed, especially bike and pedestrian infrastructure, shoulders, and access to properties, businesses, and downtown Evergreen. Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP funding, has been secured to construct safety and operational improvements including bike lanes, shoulders, and pedestrian facilities. The roadway is also being reconstructed, including drainage improvements and bridge replacement. The main goals of this project are to improve connectivity for bicycles and pedestrians, reduce future traffic congestion, improve safety for all users, and enhance accessibility to downtown Evergreen with additional parking and shared use paths. Jefferson County is working with a consultant team to assist in developing the recommended design and to complete full design plans for construction. The project includes recommended improvements for an approximate half-mile segment of JC-73 between Buffalo Park Road and Plettner Lane. Existing bicycle and pedestrian facilities within this project area are very limited. An existing 5-foot sidewalk is located on the east side, north and south of Buffalo Park Road, but terminates approximately 300 feet north of the intersection. The next segment of sidewalk isn't until the northernmost end of the project limits along the west side across from Plettner Lane. There is a social path, or a worn path, present along portions of the corridor, namely along the top of the rock wall on the western limit of the roadway. There are several property accesses via stairwells that terminate at the very narrow roadway shoulder. The presence of these social paths indicates public is looking for pedestrian access along the corridor. Lastly, steep embankments and narrow shoulders force bicyclists to ride in traffic along the roadway segment. The corridor contains several locations where large dirt pull-offs have been used as informalized parking for access to businesses, residences, and downtown Evergreen. These informalized parking lots tend to provide an inefficient number of parking spaces and an adequate crosswalk or accessibility for all users. Additionally, the existing roadway does not meet minimum design requirements for roadside safety and sightlines. There are rock outcroppings along the corridor that limit driver sight distances from stopped vehicles, animals, bicyclists, or pedestrians. Most of the segment does not contain turn lanes for residential and business access, which exacerbates the congestion due to high traffic volumes. Lastly, the embankments for the creek do not have a recoverable slope, which means that an errant vehicle leaving the roadway will continue to the bottom of the slope, thus increasing the likelihood of property damage or injury. This is especially concerning due to the year-round presence of water in the creek. Now that we've discussed some of the existing physical features along the corridor, we will dive into the existing traffic patterns, safety, and what the future could look like if no changes are provided. First, some background knowledge and level of service. Level of service, or often abbreviated to LOS, is a qualitative measure of traffic operational conditions based on roadway capacity and vehicle delay. LOS is described by a letter designation ranging from A to F, with LOS A representing almost free flow travel, while LOS F represents very congested conditions. We will refer to level of service throughout this presentation, comparing the existing conditions to the proposed concepts developed to date. The existing traffic volume data was recorded pre-COVID-19 stay-at-home orders. The data includes daily 24-hour representations of traffic volume levels along specific roadway segments. Intersection turning movements were recorded at 4 locations. The intersections recorded are Buffalo Park Road, Little Cub Creek Road, Plettner Lane, and State Highway 74. As you can see on this figure, daily traffic volume levels along JC-73 are almost 16,000 vehicles per day, while other roadway segments' daily traffic volumes are quite varied from 3,000 to 18,000 vehicles per day. When considering the planning level of traffic volume typically associated with 2-lane roadways, it can be understood that JC-73 is nearing its theoretical capacity. The level of service is indicated on this exhibit by the different colors correlating to the legend. One intersection we'd like to note is the signalized intersection at Buffalo Park Road and JC-73. The eastbound and westbound left turn and through movements experience level of service E during both peak AM and PM hours. All other individual movements at the intersection operate at level of service C or better. Lastly, Plettner Lane and Little Cub Creek are stop-controlled intersections and do not operate as well as their signalized partners. These locations reach level of service E or F during the peak hours, but the poor level of service is not a function of the level of traffic on these side streets, but rather caused by the level of vehicle movements traveling along northbound and southbound JC-73. A safety assessment was completed for the existing study area based on an analysis of 5 years of crash history. The 5-year period analyzed was from January 1, 2014 through December 31, 2018. The image in front of you summarizes the types and numbers of crashes experienced. There were 65 crashes over the course of 5 years, which equates to approximately 1 crash each month over the entire corridor, a relatively low crash occurrence. There were some injuries, but there were no fatalities, and crashes were mostly concentrated at intersections. About half are rear-end crashes, which is related to stop-and-go traffic, as well as stopping maneuvers at intersections. The traffic volumes and operations are projected to year 2040 values considering the proposed improvements. The percentage of traffic increases an average of 10% between now and year 2040. This equates to an annual growth rate of about 0.3% per year. While it is recognized that JC-73 may be reaching its theoretical operating capacity given the level of daily traffic, widening JC-73 for additional through lanes provides challenges due to the physical constraints of the natural environment on either side of the roadway and available funding. I'd like to note that with the operational improvements, the signalized intersection at Buffalo Park Road and JC-73 will improve its level of service. All movements will move into level service C and B. The other intersections, namely Plettner Lane and Little Cub Creek, which are stop controlled, will still maintain a level of service F with improvements at specific peak times and with significant safety improvements by the addition of a turning lane. The preliminary design intends to provide a safer environment by adding better pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure as well as safer roadway design while still maintaining important community assets. Such assets include the historic wall along the road, Cub Creek, and access to properties. The existing 2-lane roadway section, which includes 1 northbound lane and 1 southbound lane, was modified to include a southbound bike lane and an 8-foot shared use path on the creek side. This cross-section is better depicted in the section at the bottom of the slide. This option improves the existing parking areas, providing 3 dedicated parking lots. Parking options along with the benefits and shortcomings will be reviewed in more detail on slides 19 through 22. Jefferson County will acquire 1 full property to accommodate this cross-section. The remaining temporary impacts or partial property acquisitions will be verified as the design is finalized. Jefferson County will work closely with the impacted property owners as the design advances. The preliminary design widens the existing 2-lane roadway to a 3-lane section at certain locations. This section includes 1 northbound lane, 1 southbound lane, 1 2-way center left turn lane, a southbound bike lane, and an 8-foot shared use path on the creek side. This cross-section is better depicted in the section at the bottom of the slide. A wider cross-section may provide motorists with little room for error and will improve sight distance around all curves. Taking a closer look at the preliminary design, these next few slides will progress from south to north, starting at the intersection of Buffalo Park Road and JC-73. A heavy movement at this location is eastbound Buffalo Park Road to northbound JC-73. The design doubles available left turn storage length to improve vehicle queuing along Buffalo Park Road. Another common choke point is the northbound merge from 2 lanes to 1. This design lengthens the merge area for the lane drop to improve flow of traffic and reduce backups. 5-foot sidewalks will be added on 3 sides of the intersection with an 8-foot shared use path on the north side of Buffalo Park Road and north along the creek. The existing bridge by the library will be extended to better line up with the Buffalo Park Road through and left turn movements. Progressing north, the preliminary design maintains 2 existing driveways and reconstructs 1 residential driveway culvert. The 8-foot shared use path continues along the east side by the creek. No left turn lanes for the business and residential accesses were added in this segment to preserve the historic wall and reduce property acquisitions and impacts to Cub Creek. The cross-section continues to the north of Little Cub Creek Road. A 2-way left turn lane is provided in front of the Assist to Sell building to provide access to residential properties, businesses, and a dedicated parking lot to the east. There is no change to the gravel area in front of the homes on the west side of JC-73. Little Cub Creek Road was modified to provide a designated left and right turn lane. The right turn movement is the heaviest, but is usually blocked by drivers waiting for a gap in the JC-73 traffic to turn left. This layout should relieve some of the backups. Another dedicated parking lot is provided on the east side of JC-73 across from the fire station. A mid-block crossing is planned to provide additional accessibility to the 8-foot shared use path that crosses from the east to the west side of JC-73. Approaching the northern terminus of the study area, the 8-foot shared use path is continued until tying into the existing sidewalk. The existing drainage culvert will be impacted by the wider footprint and will be extended. The remainder of the design will tie into existing before the intersection of JC-73 and State Highway 74. The existing traffic signal does not operate efficiently, causing longer delays and vehicle backups. The team designed signal optimizations to improve the existing concerns, adjusting the existing lane assignment slightly on Buffalo Park Road so that overlaps are removed between the left turn lane movements on eastbound and westbound optimizes the signal operation. The biggest benefit of the signalized intersection improvement is the smaller footprint and familiarity with the current layout with residents. This proposed modification improves the overall intersection AM and PM level of service to level of service B and C respectively. The preliminary design intends to use the existing dirt pull-offs and formalize them into dedicated parking lots. The next several slides review the parking lot designs being considered along the corridor. Front-end angled parking is being considered for the gravel area north of Assist to Sell because it is off-street and maximizes the number of parking spaces while utilizing the existing gravel area footprint. Shoulders are maintained across the street for residential access. Lastly, an improved crosswalk will be considered to provide access between the 2 parking lots. There are 2 existing dirt pull-offs shown on this slide, one east of the fire station and one on the west side, just south of the intersection of JC-73 and State Highway 74. The preliminary design includes back-in angled parking in front of the fire station. Back-in angled parking provides visual benefits to drivers and bicyclists when drivers pull out of the parking spaces. A potential raised median would eliminate southbound drivers from using the back-in angled parking incorrectly. Jefferson County has ongoing conversations with the fire station. Considerations will be reviewed to assure the fire station can maintain all movements for fire trucks in events of an emergency. The current parking lot located north of the fire station will be kept in place with improvements to the access point only. The driveway cut for the access is planned to improve access control on JC-73. Front-end angled parking provides more parking spaces compared to parallel parking, and it is a more conventional driving maneuver. However, this type of parking provides limited visibility for approaching vehicles, bicyclists, and other road users. Finally, back-in or reverse angled parking is relatively new to Colorado, but there are a few existing examples in Golden, Denver, and Boulder. The benefit for back and angled parking is there is improved visibility of approaching bicyclists and oncoming traffic when exiting the parking space rather than backing out into oncoming traffic. Because of this benefit, there is typically a reduction in bike and car crash potential. However, because this type of parking is relatively new to Colorado, it is less of a familiar driving experience. First and foremost, the phasing design will prioritize emergency access and maintaining residential and business accesses, all while providing a safe working environment for drivers and the construction team. Previous public engagement effort concerns were taken into consideration and are being included in the project plans as the construction phasing design advances. These considerations include maintaining 2 lanes of traffic during peak hours, use of temporary pavement and structures to provide access and maintain 2 lanes of traffic, occasional lane closures at night for project progress requiring more substantial impacts to traffic, flaggers at site to direct traffic and maintain a safe environment, and will coordinate with residents and businesses to assure access to properties are maintained through construction. That wraps up the presentation on the preliminary design, and now we'll provide a brief update on the schedule. The conceptual design with different alternatives was completed in winter of 2020, and public outreach was performed in July of 2020. Before starting the preliminary design, environmental and floodplain data was collected in early 2021 to inform the design footprint. In May 2021, the preliminary design was initiated and is intended to conclude by the end of the year after public outreach has been performed and adjustments made. The next phase, which is the final design, is anticipated to be completed by spring 2022. The construction phase of the preferred alternative is anticipated to begin early 2023 after right-of-way has been acquired and a contractor awarded. Construction completion is anticipated to be completed by summer of 2024. The community identified congestion and lack of pedestrian and bicycle facilities as their top 2 concerns during the conceptual public outreach efforts. Other concerns are movement of wildlife, impacts to private property and access, lack of dedicated parking, challenging left turn movements onto JC-73, access to downtown, maintaining the quaint town character, protecting the rock walls and staircases, and construction phasing concerns. The previous slides detailed out how the county plans to improve dedicated parking, maintaining existing access points, designing construction phasing with congestion and safety in mind, and protecting the rock wall. The county is actively looking into solutions for remaining concerns and can provide the following updates. The movement of wildlife and the creek ecosystem is a major part of the evergreen community. While fencing and walls will be placed along portions of the creek, there are openings throughout the corridor that can accommodate the movement of wildlife. The county has made considerable efforts to minimize impacts to properties. Majority of the properties on the west side will be avoided to protect the historic wall. The east side will have more impacts, but will aim to minimize impacts to the creek location. There will still be several temporary construction easements and right-of-way acquisitions to accommodate the improvements. Additional information on right-of-way and easements will be provided as the design advances further. Access to downtown will be improved by providing safer facilities for users and adding the dedicated parking. Pedestrian and bicyclists will feel more comfortable having their dedicated space and ultimately improves congestion on the roadway. In addition to providing easier access to downtown, more considerations will be placed on maintaining the quaint town character. Utilizing the same number of lanes that exist today will help, but additional detail will be placed on aesthetics portion as the design advances. Areas with challenging left turn movements will be improved based on project constraints. For example, where congestion backs up near downtown Evergreen, the intersection at Plettner Lane will be improved with striping to provide gaps in the traffic, allowing better sight lines and opportunities to turn left. At Little Cub Creek Road, a dedicated left turn lane is provided to improve congestion for right turn movements. A center lane is provided to allow left turns to stage, waiting for a gap in southbound traffic. As the design advances, more specific updates can be provided regarding the community's concerns. Thank you for attending the virtual presentation for the preliminary design of JC-73 from Buffalo Park Road to Plettner Lane. Your comments and feedback are critical in making the best decision within your community, and Jefferson County values your input. Please use the comment form link provided to offer your questions and opinions. This form will be available until 11 p.m. December 31st, 2021. A PDF version of this presentation is available on the project website identified on this slide. Thank you again.